wild card, I think it was.
Yep, the wild card. A lot of people calling it a wild card line, and that's another great feature of the show. And it's heartwarming to hear these callers from over a decade ago come to the show with questions and comments. And of course, some people don't believe him. They don't believe this guest and a lot of guests they even have on the show, but that didn't bother Art. Look, it's entertainment. Why are you going to shut somebody out just because, it sounds silly? Well, this is all silly. That's my premise for what we cover. It's all impossible and ridiculous, and there are people who are going to believe any of it, but it creates and sparks wonder. So in this case, though, people were calling in, and Art wants to let you know that he chose this story. This guy didn't force his way on the show. He's not just calling in his cold call, first-time caller. Art heard the specs of the story and thought it was interesting enough to want to interview them. So it starts off as a very longish segment for the Coast to Coast AM radio show. Sometimes for an hour, sometimes just a short blurb that that night. But there's another factor why Art was interested in that. There are some possible terrible properties, of course, about this hole and the land around it, possibly. It may have been seized by the federal government once they found out about it. Find out about it possibly from the Coast to Coast AM show. Maybe somebody's listening. So I'm just going to get some highlights here just to put your appetites. Well, listen to this. Possibly seized by the U.S. government. And some of the attributes of the hole, well, Mel Waters, and he didn't claim this himself. He said there were other neighbors who knew about this hole, and everybody, for as long as he could remember, was throwing junk down the hole. He said, right? Building materials, dead farm animals like cows, refrigerators at one point Mel threw down there. Television tubes were another thing that Mel liked to throw down there because they make a good, satisfying pop for the tube when it smashes. And they had been on the property for about 4 years, Mel and his wife. People had owned that property before them for about, I think the previous owner was quite elderly, and he'd owned it for about 40 years.
Yes.
And it should fill up by now, right? I mean, how deep is this thing? And Mel never said this, but one of the stories that he does tell Art about, if he's asking whether anything weird happened with this, he's like, what else? Well, he said, yeah, there is one story that Mel had heard. And again, this is not Mel's story. He's saying this is probably apocryphal. Is that there's a story of a neighbor who's out there, and he had a hunting dog. The dog died. Rather than bury him, he placed him in the hole. And the story goes, a little while later, the hunter and other people that he had talked to saw this dog alive again. Same collar, same metal tag, same coloring, just running through the woods, sometimes in town. But the dog would not come back to the hunter. So, okay, you got a pet cemetery angle.
Yeah, well, there was also a story that it looked like the dog at the time.
Yeah.
But he knew it was his dog. He knew it was his dog. It was the same color, the same tag.
So you could say, like, well, they just mistook it for a dog. But it's a small community there. Everybody knows each other. And you don't get a lot of outsiders. So if you want to believe that angle, that's one terrible story. Another one is that this is also told to Mel by another neighbor. One time at night, he was there by the hole, and he saw a black beam, blacker than black, emanating from the hole and into the night sky. Long ago, just this black beam. And it wasn't just that neighbor. Apparently, as Mel will tell him, other neighbors have claimed to have seen that. But Mel himself did not. He's just saying, like, this is some of the weird stories I've heard about this thing. But for me, really the weirdness is that I just can't find the dog. And it sounds pretty good. And then, years after, Mel has this interaction with other people, of course, who heard this podcast and went with their own obsession and some of the other crazy things that people see it and research those legends from investigators. There are claims that the radio, portable radio, and you went near the hole, you could hear radio broadcasts and news on the pads. So it's a hole in the ground photo license. above it, people can see images of past events in different time periods and created a time vortex. That's what's happening here a little bit. Another claim is that it has alchemical properties. That people said if you take metals near the hole, they would change into other metal and different substances. Just take that. It's a weird hole. Okay, so just to be clear, Mel's hole is weird. Mel's hole is weird. Okay, and privately, all you folks out there, you can hold jokes. There's going to be a lot. I'm going to have a hard time with this. So we will endeavor to be adults. What was the last one? Oh yes, Lake Titty Cocker. Okay, we got through that pretty well. I have the utmost confidence in the five minutes. We are going to bring the whole. Still gotta be careful out there. But travel restrictions are easy, so people are really itching to get back out to see the world. And that means fabulous for vacations. I just had a group of friends that I was in that was a free trip for them. And what makes it special besides the sights is the connection again with people outside of our bubbles. Well, what's that? No, I'm kidding. That's a lot of fun of visiting other places and connecting with people. And I'll tell you, nothing makes a more deep connection and a friendly welcome than being able to see a little bit of so often we get to see making that there's really appreciative. And they'll go out of their way to tell you about the best restaurants, their favorite spots, and also importantly, what to avoid. And that's where Babbel, the language learning sold more than 10 million subscriptions comes in. Whether you're traveling abroad, relatives from the old country are coming to visit, or you're just bored with the games on your phone, Babbel teaches you bite-sized language lessons that you can actually use in the real world. You'll find that Babbel is really fun in a digital way. You finally start wearing that you can always promise yourself you learn. While other language apps use AI to design lesson plans, Babbel's lessons were strictly over 100 language episodes, and they're teaching methods that's designed to be really effective. And they're only 15-minute lessons you can learn on the go. But here's the major advantage of Babbel. Their speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. Are you saying my southern accent is coming through my phone today? You still ooh, nice. You better work on that accent too. Yeah. Well, there are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Learn your new language learning today with Babbel. Right now, save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/legends. That's Babbel, BABBEL.com/legends. 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. Hey man, I don't know if I told you, but I'm just excited. What? No way, dude. Another SF profile for you and discussing, and then one where you can see the custom requests, and then I have one a profile. I'm sure it's wait. I have to stop you right here. I'm not looking at Exactly. That is exactly my point. These days, you get exactly one chance or one and a half chance to check out what you got going on. Don't make them do a bunch of work or stuff to get there. Just try to remember. Because you know what? Let's be honest, the secret. Nobody's really interested in what you got going on. You got to trick them into being interested. So that first step is going to be the easiest thing for them to do. That's true. We've been trying to trick people into listening to a paranormal podcast for years now. You are actually making sense. And of course, as a creator, you can get all that in one place with a Squarespace website. And then your customers or followers can get all that in one easy to remember place too. Yep, no one's going to remember your long URL, your / handle. You got a much better chance of something custom that's codes me and codes you, like birdhouseburgers.com or whatever fits your brand. Own your own domain name. That is actually a website name I will not forget, no matter how hard I try. Okay, so you got your audience or your customer there. Now what? That's where Squarespace's elegant features and robust tools take over to seal the deal. If selling is your bag, Squarespace has tools to get you earning fat stacks quickly, like e-commerce templates, inventory management, a simple checkout process, and secure payments. Whatever you sell, Squarespace has merchandising features to make your products look their best online. Yeah, stop wasting your time posting offerings separately to every darn place you're online. With simultaneous posting on Squarespace, it can authenticate with your social profiles. Then you auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr. Vice versa, you display this for your social profiles on your website.
Yeah, if you're selling your time or talents, Squarespace makes it easy with online booking and scheduling for your classes or sessions to your website. Clients can easily see your availability or reschedule it, taking the hassle out of four-day calendars.
It's not time to put your ship together. I said ship, and by that I mean it's everything you've got going on in life. Just to remember, easy to solve links with Squarespace.
Head on over to squarespace.com/legends for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEGENDS to save 10% off your first purchase of your website.
You're not actually. No, but I'd absolutely have a Squarespace website for it if I did.
Morris and Scott, thank you for supporting this box. I'm Renee, and now back to the show.
Well, just to kind of round out the tantalizing aspects of the whole, the story goes into that there's some dark spots. Nobody seems to know how real continues, and Mel's Marcus keeps popping up here and there. People start to wonder, who is this guy? Did he ever really exist? Well, obviously there's a recording of him, right? But who is, quote-unquote, Mel Waters? There's a question about that. It's all cloaked in mystery, as well as the hole. Where is the hole? Can anybody find it again? Well, people claim to right after the story aired. Now, here's the thing. After that story aired on Coast to Coast, it got a lot of imagination sparked. People went looking for it. There were local news reports. Newspaper reporters were trying to find out, who's this Mel Waters guy? Where is this hole? He kind of describes it as being on the outskirts of Ellensburg, near Menashe Ridge, but it's a large area. Where exactly is this? And where can we find this property? And some people have claimed to have found it, but they never told anybody else where it is exactly. So it's a hole with a mystery, and everyone surrounding this mystery is also a mystery. And you could say, like, well, look, it's just a prank call, it's a hoax. And people do that all the time. They fool Bart, they fool George Corey, or any of the other hosts with crazy stories. But this one is different in that if it is a hoax, there are enough seemingly real elements to keep it going, to keep it believable. And it gets nuts, but not all at once. That to me is a sign of a hoax right off the bat. It's just immediately too much. To me, this thing unfolded in a way that I think if it was a hoax, it was expertly done.
Okay, so yeah, let's set the stage to when this first phone call came in, or I should say, and I think that's a mistake to say that, or to when Art first reached out to Mel, because
Yes.
Art was getting faxes all the time. 1 billion people are faxing his show, and this is one that he plucked out and decided to look into, as opposed to a wild card call coming in, or a call coming in on one of his lines. It's like, hey, this happened, da 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 da. I'm in an airplane over Area 51.
So that was another
Yes.
great show, which
famous episode.
he faxes this over, and I think he maybe is just thinking Art's going to announce it on the show. Like anybody who wants to call in with some theories or what Mel should do about this whole, geologists or karst experts, anybody have some recommendations to check this out, because he was just curious. He was just like, I don't know what to do with this thing. I want to explore it more in a safe way. What should I do? And Art was interested enough that he got the phone number off the top of the faxes. Again, I'll explain this. I've never seen a fax. If you turn on the settings on your fax machine, you could have a fax number, of course, print out at the very top, the header, or the footer of which your number was. Normally your fax number, but also a telephone number. So people want to call you about, like, hey, what is this? You just fax me. So he got that phone number for Mel off that header or footer of the fax that came, and he called him. Yes, you can say like it's a good way to meet him. Yeah, just didn't give him a number, but so that's how it started up, and Art called Mel.
Yeah, and so this would have been February 21st, 1997. Again, the same day as I was started the Sheep's existence. The number one song in the United States, and then I'm a horrible singer. Number one song in Britain, Don't Speak, no doubt. Those of us of a certain age, that'll bring back some memories.
that seems flipped. I would think the Spice Girls would have the #1 show in Europe being European, and No Doubt.
Yeah, maybe you think they
Santa Ana
got that
Fever.
backwards. I don't know. That was big here, so
Yeah, well, they both were big songs. Yeah.
you know what? You're right. This is and what kind of astonishing legend host would I be if I didn't fact check it? You're making a very good point here. So I decided to look at the actual Billboard website for the Billboard Hot 100 for February 21st or 22nd, also of 1997. #1, Wannabe, Spice Girls. So I guess it's right.
Okay.
So, my hat's off to onthisday.com. They do have it right, even though it looks backwards.
But for those of you who keep track of the archives, the guest the next night would be author Dean Koontz.
Yes.
Big hit from the late 90s. So the recording that I listened to and took notes from, we'll have a link to that. That is on a compilation archival website for the Saga of Mel's Hole. They have a clip that is a compilation of everything. And where they got that, though, was from the Best of Art Bell. And that is a rebroadcast, a compilation of all of Mel's interviews, at least the first 3.
Yeah, so technically, because the show runs so late, it was the 21st and the 22nd. It starts on the 21st. No Doubt was at the top of the charts across the pond. So Art calls Mel and says, hey, I got this fax from you. What is going on? And starts to get the story from Mel. What's interesting, Mel is talking about life in Ellisburg, Washington, where this story is supposedly taking place. So this episode, this series, folks, is a big, if you believe in any of this stuff, that phrase was never or looking along the way at the other details that Mel Waters offers in his story. Now, if you want to hear the original one, you got to join the Coast to Coast Insider. You can get over there. It's real affordable. I think the monthly fee right now is $6.95 a month or whatever. You get into the back end there, and there's old shows like this one, which is really cool. Some of these Mel Waters shows are available on YouTube and different places because a lot of people are fascinated. That's where we listened to them and took our notes from them. So one of the things that happens with Mel, he's calling in. He's like, yeah, you know what? We've just had a huge blizzard. The property didn't have power. It didn't have water. It didn't have telephone, anything. And they had some buildings on it, but they had collapsed because of this snowstorm. But the property itself, that's where the hole is. And there's a couple of varying facts about this home. One of the things, of course, already indicated was that they had him and his wife were already, I think, in the process of becoming estranged or separating. They had it about 4 years, but the property had prior belonged to an elderly person who had it for 30 or 40 years, Mel thought, and that person obviously knew about the hole that was on land. And a lot of folks in town did, and now when I say a lot, Mel indicates, I don't know, maybe 20 people at least were coming and being allowed to dump into Mel's hole. Yeah. So that's get your legs up. I'm never going to remember that part. I'm not going to make it clear. No, I'm not going to do it. So this is in Ellisburg, and unfortunately, I think you're familiar with Ellisburg, Washington. Yeah, I mean, I went to the University of Washington. Yeah, that's in Seattle. Of course, I have friends there. I'm familiar with Washington State and parts of Western Montana, so the whole area. But if you live around there, you usually are, especially if you live in what they call the Inland Empire, which is, as people can see on the map, lots of more central Washington, slightly south, and central Washington, and you're correct. But a lot of people consider anything east of the Cascades to be eastern Washington. So, right, it's funny if you tell people, like, I'm from the Spokane region, right? I'm from right up in Panhandle. It must be really rainy there. Right up there, back to Seattle. Thinking about Tacoma, all the western cities there, and it's rain. The usual weather pattern is rainy.
Is it just suspended?
Yeah, and that would be influenced by the geography of the area. Well, you're on the coast, yeah. So the Vancouver is the same thing. That's why I shot a lot of the X-Files there because it was a booming in the market. But what I will say, having gone to the University of Washington for 2 years, is that it was like that during the day, and then as the sun was setting, the clouds were pretty big. Yes, and a lot of times you can't put up with that because it is very rainy during the winter, but the spring and summer, and on a bright night, I always wanted it, but I haven't. Like,
yes, when I was a kid, you take a car and you had fast go through Allentown. It goes right through I-90 and I-90 will touch the edge, the bottom edge of the city. Right. So you go through there and then later so a lot of people in the area have heard of tourism. It's only that's really as Noel described it a little later on, we'll see he described the population back then is about 12,000 or so, and over half of that are local students. So a little less than maybe 6,000 people are local. So it is a tight-knit community, and that figures into this because with that description, you should think that people would know it well. And as he described it, like, yeah, when we're done with there, he didn't have it fenced off. You could kind of think it was a little bit of access road, maybe a mile,
a mile and a half from the mouth of the access road. Yeah, a lot of people are showing up. They're throwing refrigerators down, they're throwing television tubes, they're throwing all kinds of things. There was never a crash, flash, or crunch, as he says. You never hear anything said there. And even a Mexican gentleman made money calling off two tires now in the area. And he brings the truck up here. Well, Mexican gentleman job of the tire vendor involved with stolen the truck. Running on top of everything else. And as Art said, like, that bottom of that hole, tires and cows. So, anyway, a lot of stuff going into the hole. But when Mel is on talking to Art, he definitely a little bit concerned about the water table. But the thing is, when he went to measure depth of the hole, he had a very novel idea. He apparently used to be, he was a self-described former, almost professional shark fisherman. Something to quit. Yes, in Jaws. He's been dead for a living. He's certainly not that grizzled down. At this point, he's pretty much retired. He's worked on a few things, but he has experience with shark fishing. And he has a clever idea. What he said to find out one, not how deep is the hole, but is the water depth. Yeah. The time that the story takes place, we're able to participate in some area. Probably around 64 or 65 when this first call takes place. And he decides he could get some fishing line and put a 1 pound weight on it, which you would think is initially like 1 pound. That's crazy. But not for sharks, he's probably got decent. You got 1 pound weight, putting it on the end of a 20-pound line on the filament. And he's got these big reels, big saltwater shark reels, and he's lowering the line down and trying to wait for it to go slack. He's like, when the weight hits the bottom, the line's going to go smooth. So he gets his reel, puts it down, going down 1,500 feet with his initial spools. Yes, with his initial spools. And nothing's happening. So he's starting to try to figure out, wait, where is the bottom of this hole? How deep can it be? And as this stuff is happening, he's trying to make these determinations. There are many other experiments. Like, he's yelling into the hole. And one of the things that he said about that was he never heard an echo that time. It was like it dampened the sound, almost no sound came back.
All sound or light, that's the other thing, is that he's shown high-powered flash. And you get 100,000 gallon power.
Yeah, now with LEDs, it's these crazy fire.
But the idea was point that down into the hole and then we just plug it out. Illuminate the sides of the well. It also described as, again, what's around the hole. That was crazy. They had a that was down about 50 feet or so. And then the dirt rocks.
Yeah, when you look inside, but on the outside, it's like this. Inside, silence of the land style, there's about
leaking out of the pan.
That was about 2.5 feet long. And that was an extension over the hole, so that the line is now dropping down more or less straight instead of full. Right. And yeah, when he said later that you could move it side to side without that movement, it was kind of hard to read the line itself. So that's what's happening here. He's now splicing together 5,000 yard spools of line because the idea is that you go to a fisherman's store here and they're assuming that you're just filling up other smaller reels, right? Right. For other fishermen, they even have a fishing charter and you have guests and give them fishing poles to use. And so line gets lost or he's tangled, you replace that. They don't know or care what he's doing with it, but that's what he's saying. They get these big, foot-wide spools of
Right, so he's running it down there. It's getting longer and longer. He's getting down like past 4,000 feet. He wants to find out at this point. It's like, well, there must be water. Can I get water? So he comes up with this experiment again based on his shark fishing skill set, where he's going to take a roll of lifesavers and send it down. He puts fast straight melt and send it down there. And then this is something I thought this was interesting. He's talking about a shark fisherman's trick, and this is what they would do. They would put their bait on a balloon attached to a roll of lifesavers, and the bait would go out to the ocean on a tide, and this is quoting what he was saying on the coast. Eventually, lifesavers would melt, and the bait would fall to the bottom. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I went today, and I found a YouTube video, put in the links, about using a balloon to bait sharks. There's nothing about the lifesavers, but this is definitely a real thing. He talks about that might have been his little hack, the lifesaver. He said the lifesaver that was his control for his experiment. He knew that lifesavers dissolved in water, and that he would be able to determine if there was water by whether or not the lifesavers dissolved, as opposed to just sitting down a weight that might get dried off by the time he got back to the top.
Good point there. And his point was that, yeah, if you're surf fishing or fishing on the coast, you can't cast out hard to get the shark free. Now,
That's right.
you have famously caught a flounder with a bit of dried out from the shore.
Yes, I have. And that's what you're allowed to serve. Well, that was dehydrated apple. And I was in the Boy Scouts, and the Scoutmaster said his hat we managed to catch a fish. We run out of bait, and sure enough, we did manage to catch the surf catch, flounder, and North Carolina surf. Did attempt to take a bite out of it.
Unfortunately, his hat was made out of dehydrated apple.
Yeah, it's dehydrated apple, but it did work. Flounder's delicious, surf flounder.
The point, though, is that you were surf fishing. You're standing in the surf.
Yeah, you get a big saltwater pole, pretty long pole, and 2 or 3 weights, but they're only a few ounces. Put 2 or 3 hooks on it and cast out past the breakers as soon as you can. If it's high tide, usually the waves are breaking closer to the ocean. That's why just a little bit past the breakers.
Like you said, you have to get the bait and the weight in a cast. I don't know, 3 feet into the surf.
Yeah. So that gives you the sharks.
Right, so the balloon has the weight and the weight takes up the line, shark depth. And then by that time, the lifesavers will
Yeah.
right a delicious window green treat to the fish, bait drops, and now you're shark fishing.
5-foot boats. The YouTube video I watched today, the guy said very plain that it's 5 real.
Very good. Very good. That sounds like that one party was that.
Yeah, that's what made me think that you can really say something about
Yes, we should. That you should do that because when you lay things down walking,
yes, killing animals and your house. So he's doing that to key. He's like, it's fine out. Is there water? There must be water at this point. And nothing is happening. Lifesavers come up well dry and figure out what to do next other than to add more line. Now, he has been talking about his wife who supposedly worked at the University, but Ellensburg, right in the heart of it, is Washington University. So that's probably the school.
it's assumed that's the school because what's also hinted at is that she works in the geology.
Right.
And he mentions to her what a great lead. He's a geologist.
Yes.
He said that George when your wife's hobbies.
Rest them, not putting out things. They stop. Yeah, and that's a believable reaction because you got to get a certain kind of person, whether it's in the geology department, wherever you go. This person might be the kind of person regardless of your profession, where you say, that sounds crazy, but you know what? Let me get some gear and let's just check it out real quick. If you the department is like, yeah, whatever, your husband's crazy. You guys don't have a bottomless pit on your land, and we've got all we've got all these experiments to finish, or we've got these theses to write, whatever. So that's possible to me that they were like, no, we're not going out there. So anyway, he's still trying to figure out how to get to the bottom of it, literally. He's like, I'm going to get to the bottom of my hole. And so he's now trying to put more monofilament onto the line and just keep lowering it. And as Forrest said earlier, as he's unfolding the story to Art Bell, he's talking to the dog story, and he does say, I just want to make this clear from the very beginning, he says, this might be apocryphal. He says the word apocryphal. And it was almost the name of our show. Yeah, one of our games before Astonishing Legends was apocryphal. Yes, I like that. That was mine. That was in the bar. If you like to we're disgusted. Yes, yeah, when in the bar and just over there in Los Feliz, the smellability factor was very and also nobody would know what it is, which basically means made up. So we wound up with social. But anyway, he said, well, this story might be apocryphal, but suppose the dog went down, and then, the first time he tells the story, it's just like, the hunter saw the dog, then the same dog, same color, And in these later appearances, there's a little more about the dog. We'll get to those later. But that's the first idea. It's not something that Mel ever said himself. Something all he said is this whole Steve, I can't find water. I got down about 5,000 feet, and I'm going to keep going down. So Art, whatever his disposition is, there's a couple times where he's just like, so Mel, you're not pulling my leg, right? And you're too much. It starts out very gentle. Yeah, and Mel, every time, no, I'm not pulling your leg. I'm telling you, this is all my land. This is happening, and then he starts talking about, folks know about it around here. Everybody's bringing their stuff to dump, and as Forrest said, he didn't mention the gentleman bringing the tires until a later interview, but he did say, I let my neighbors put stuff down in there, so, it's tradition around there. Now, here's the thing, is that before you start doing you find out Mel is actually fairly logically right. It says, I know TV too bad. I feel bad about TV. Yeah, Art's really good on this as well. As far as Mel's concerned, this is not a new idea, even out here in Southern California. They made a deal with a line shaft out here somewhere in Colombia. It's not being used anymore, and I think they made a deal with some of the counties to use as a trash dump because it's essentially solid rock. It's not going to seep in anything. Right. And so it's used as essentially a dump. And they're just going to stump that thing full until it's at the brim and then seal it off. Yeah. Now, what Mel says is that, because Art, of course, dresses a lot of physical, which I think is going to interfere with the officer or anything that's going on. He's like, well, you get the water tested. Ellensburg water, that area is pure and delicious. So our thinking is that this thing's going down in the solid bedrock. There's no seepage. It's not sandstones.
There's no aquifer issues. That people have been doing this for at least 40 years.
Yeah.
He said the gentleman that he bought the property from was about in his 80s, as long as he can remember it going on.
Right.
That people were doing this. So, not that you should keep on doing it, but it's convenient when these people are rural. It costs money to go to a dump. And you've got big stuff, it's cheap. So, they figure like that, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. If you can't be like super concerned about this and then be okay with fracking, where they won't even tell you what the chemicals are that they're shooting into your DC depths. So,
Just a little side note here. Remember, we went into on site to do an event for a auto company, and we were flying. There was a lot of contingency from Southern California. And we were in a rural town. I won't say which one it is. But we're in the production office, and somebody comes in and is like, "Oh, I have these batteries. Where's the recycle bin?" They said, "You know where you are, right?" Yeah, there's no. That's Southern California. There's no recycle bin here. Right. So you can pack them back in your bag, or they go in the trash. And so that's what you learn. It's like somebody telling you, wear seatbelts around here. If you drove around recently without a seatbelt, it feels weird. It feels right. So again, this is also 1997. So things have changed. And let's just say that Mel is aware of these things. And that's
even as much as she's aware.
yeah, it's not maybe certainly not throwing cats or cows in the but some of the people have. And they all know this. Now, here's another important aspect of it. If any neighbors know about this being produced, keep that in mind as people watch this. If you hear the story, it's like stick with that. So, anyway, let's continue.
It gets to a point where, of course, it goes to Mark starts taking phone calls and people are calling in and talking to Mel, and it's just the best part of the show. One of them calls in volunteers to be lowered into the hole.
That is a gentleman from Austin, Texas.
Yes.
If people all look well and listen, if any of you have listened to it, you know there's a certain type of person that falls in a certain age range, and maybe they're not NYU professors.
Not sailing the listeners of Coast to Coast on a astonishing legend.
No, what I'm saying is that there are people that think like that aren't right. This is what a blah blah, right? It's kind of ridiculousness. And I have time for this. It's people who are interested in this stuff. And if you've ever watched a ghost hunting show or ghost hunters, there is a blue collar aspect to this.
Yeah.
That is the background of my family. Laborers and artists. I spent okay. The other side, they're doctors and lawyers. Ours, right? It's so if people don't think this is ridiculous, well, sure, interest in this. But people pop over and they have some good ideas. And that's what they're calling in. That's why Mel contacted Art and said, like, hey, be out there and your listeners. I know my huge listener base. What can we do about this? Because here's the thing that, according to Mel, is we're really driving him with this minor obsession that he just wants to experiment. It's like, if that's something kind of unusual, what should I do? Right. And Mel's will, he had that if he should pass away, he was to be thrown down the hole.
Yes. And that's something Art brought up specifically because the dog came back to life. He's like, well, if you had a fatal disease, did you want to go into the hole?
Right.
And the implication being that zombie Mel would have wandered the land, I guess, popping back out the hole somewhere. I don't know, but he said, yeah, sure, if I was dead. He's like, alive? He's like, I'm not going down there.
Yeah,
are you crazy? But this guy from Austin called and said, I'll go down, but I want to be in a cage and I want an instant up button.
Yeah, that didn't really
I want a button in my hand that is up and I can hit it in case I see something crazy. He actually said something about, look, if it can eat the whole cage, then I'm not anyway. So, if there is.
And it didn't really help the incarcerated gentleman in the Houston Castle scenario. He was brought up, white-haired, raving like a maniac, and died soon after. So, usually if you take your cue from media, literature, tall tales, it's never good to go down the hole.
Yeah.
Don't come back with superpowers. Come back in a more disadvantageous state. So people are joking about that. It's like, well, I do it. And then as it goes on, Art says he's got a lot of requests. It's like, yeah, I'll go down. I'll test it out. In Mel's case, though, what Art says is like, yeah, you can't really just dispose of yourself or human remains into the well.
No, and I feel like at one point Mel himself is like, what if the rope breaks? He's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
this on Oak Island. Guys that came down that one shaft. It's so dangerous. It is so dangerous. I mean, that was water and involved scuba, but like either way, it's a potential bottomless pit.
That's true in that case, but also the last tragedy that befell at least the sixth person to die there. Remember, and I think the curse is that the seventh other monks and that they were in a large pit with no water, but it was carbon monoxide that it wasn't being pumped in. It's the silent killer, and unfortunately, son passed away there.
Yeah.
Along with somebody else, and it keeps
trying to save each other.
Yeah, you could. It's not good. So very dangerous. In this case, though, this is all fun and games, coast to coast, but hypothetical because listeners are still judging like this guy telling the truth.
Yeah.
Well, so far, it's a good tale. There's nothing too outrageous about it. And before we go any further, and I forget, I will make a declaration now. Upon my natural passing, I don't want anything
wait, you don't get to pick that. You don't get to pick that.
Okay, once I pass away, there's two scenarios, because people often ask me, I can't wait till I've made this decision or it's been made for me. When do you pass away? Two places. Either the water planet Interstellar that you have to get to through a black hole. That's a planet with a 10,000 foot continuous wave of a higher water planet. Yeah. And the Actor West is just continually bobbing up and down. So that's just a long ways away. It's a special where I'm always in motion in a suit, just continually riding the waves on some planet that is a black hole away. Second scenario, Mel's hole. Okay, if there's some special property, not that I want to come back to life, even as a zombie, even though that sounds tantalizing, it's just an interesting place to be. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let me get this straight. Are you going to be, obviously in this case, if you are hoping for the possible zombie reignition to be reanimated, I should say, you want...
Yeah, please don't dissect me or vivisect.
No, I'm just saying, obviously, if you were cremated, it'd be harder to reconstitute dust.
I'll tell you what, if I have to be cremated, throw the ashes down.
Okay, so when you die, throw your ashes into Mel's hole. Okay,
right.
Preferably, if you just say that on tape.
Preferably as a whole cadaver. And here's the deal, though.
See, that's what I was talking about. You might come back out of Mel's hole.
You know what? This is something that we're gonna save this for part 2 about the hypotheticals. Yes. Because we're gonna hear about scenarios where weird stuff is happened that is.
Thanks, human.
And it makes you wonder if we believe in these kind of supernatural paranormal things at all. Is something like this possible? Are there earth forces at play here, much like electronic?
Oh, that's all you needed.
Weird happening in that because of these steps in actual extreme physics. Or extreme geophysics in this case, maybe there are some weird anomalies that can happen. Right. And in this case, though, what I would say, upon my demise, there are, out of the two options, number 2, Mel's hole, is a lot more easy for you to achieve. Should you survive? That's what I'm saying. Unless you can find a rocket, that's right. Okay, just to make it easier, just shoot me into a black hole.
Yeah, that's super easy. It'd be way easier to find a hole in the ground in Washington State.
You never. John Hurt is endlessly sailing through space from the first alien. Okay, so the case here, though, is that no zombies are coming up. That's just the one story of the dog returning. We have other phenomena, but what Mel is stating here for the record so far is just that it seems very deep. So then people start calling in. They aren't saying, like, I'm no hole expert. I don't know much about geology. Are there any listeners with some comments? And somebody calls in and says, well, he looked up, and I think he went to his actual set of encyclopedias, books, the actual books, and said, well, I looked up in the, this is Dave from Milwaukee, and 16 minutes, 30 seconds into the broadcast, he says, well, I looked up the Marianas Trench, and it's 36,000 feet deep. And he says, at that time, with current mining technology, they can only go down about 1,640 feet. So things and technology have improved since then, 1997. At that time, he said, that's as far as he could research. That was about as far as a drilled mine could go. Okay, just a few mine facts here. The deepest mine that I could find in the article about it in the United States is the Lucky Friday mine. That was sunk May 24th, 2016, and it was performed by Hecla Mining, and it's called the Historic Lucky Friday Mine in Mullen Island. Does the name Hecla sound familiar? No.
Yes, it does.
Well, the heiress that inherited all of that is from the Mad Dog.
Oh, that's why it's that.
Yeah. Listen to the Mad Dog that kind of money we're talking about. Mining magnet, nice sorts. So that is their mine, and that mine's about 1.81 miles deep. And I look at my database, it's going to be a deeper mine in the U.S. The deepest mine in the world is the Mopane gold mine in South Africa. And I spelled M-O-N-N-G. And I think that was Robot. Yeah, there was a great segment on it in 60 Minutes in that gold mine. That is 2.5 miles. China did sink, and they're on record for another hole.
Right, and that's different. These are two different things. Drilling a hole is different from like a functioning mine that human beings and gear are going in and out.
That's true. This seems to be natural in some way. At least, I don't know. The top part seems to be pretty round. Okay, it's not like a natural crack karst like these things. That's seeming more of a deep hole, but a natural physics.
Right.
And possibly bad gases are coming out of it, making people loopy, seeing all kinds of stuff. Right. In this case, though, doesn't seem to be any gases coming out of it. It doesn't really affect people. So if you ask Alexa, what's the deepest natural? What's the deepest vertical, naturally occurring opening in the earth that we know about so far? She responded with, the deepest known open vertical volcanic conduit is Hrynukagir. I got that right. I'm not looking that up. Icelandic is an interesting but difficult language. Thrinukagig in Iceland, and that is 204 meters deep, or 609 feet deep. So that's the deepest known natural.
Right. So it's basically a 60 story.
Yeah, exactly. So here's another theory, though, is that this hole of Mel's may be a lava tube. Right, coming from, of course, there's a lot of volcanic activity. Mount Rainier to the west. People think, like, well, maybe that's what it is. Those can run, it's like a vent tube for a volcano. Well, that's what I think. We're going to explore that part too. But getting back to the interview, I think we're going to joke around. So today he falls into some facts and figures like the Mariana Trench is 36,000 feet deep. And the deepest they could drill down, technology for mining at the time in 1997 would be 1,640 feet. So Mel, with his first spool, he's already gone 1,500 yards.
Yes.
3 feet to a yard here in the States.
Yeah, and I said feet earlier, but it was yards. You're right. I forgot about that.
So, of course, people are calling in and they're having fun discussing stuff. Now, something that Art said I thought was interesting and possibly viable about why is the government interested in this? He suggested that the government could use it to dispose of nuclear waste. And if it's solid rock, or if it's a natural hole in solid bedrock, well, that's been done too. It's a safe way to dispose of it, where it's not going to leach into anything else.
Yeah.
And the Hanford nuclear site is only about 45 miles away to the southeast, or 100 miles by road. So maybe they have an interest in that hole, if it's suitable. Mel also thinks maybe this has a Native American sacred aspect to it, and perhaps this was something used for astronomical sighting, like at a certain moonrise. It had some religious or spiritual significance. We know a lot of people out there have businesses of their own, and if you do, inflation is not doing you any favors right now. It's harder to stay profitable than it has been for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. If you're looking for a way to cut costs and increase your profitability, one of the best places to start is mailing and shipping. And the best place to do that is with stamps.com.
Yeah, using stamps mail and ship gives you access to exclusive discounts and great rates of shipping from USPS and UPS. And it's an easy way to keep more money in your pocket. And I think people think you have to be a business or ship all the time to use it. Well, you don't. You just have to be a person who wants to save big on postage and shipping.
Look, you got your hands full with your business or personal tasks already. You want to look for ways to save time, money, and stress. And stamps.com is the obvious solution. more than 20 years, they've been indispensable for over 1 million businesses.
Stamps.com gives you access to all the post office and UPS shipping services you need right from your computer. And you get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 30% off USPS rates. And get this, 86% off UPS.
We use Stamps.com whenever we have to ship something personally, and it's an absolute piece of cake. It works with any regular computer and printer. We have sheets we just drop into the printer and we print exactly the postage we need when we need it, right from home in our case. It works amazingly well and takes just seconds. So no matter what business you're in or personal shipping you have to do, whether you're sending invoices or you have an Etsy shop and have to ship your products out, or even a larger business shipping out truckloads of orders from a warehouse, Stamps.com is the mailing and shipping solution.
On top of that, if you're selling from multiple stores, Stamps.com seamlessly works with Shopify, Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and more. You can be up and running in minutes, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send it.
Start mailing and shipping with a simple offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitment.
Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code ASTONISHING. Cerebral is an online mental health service that offers prescription medication, counseling, and therapy for anxiety, depression, ADHD, insomnia, and more.
There's no shortage of things to be anxious about these days. Even when I'm having relatively calm moments, that anxiety will creep in, whether it's internal stuff related to work or external stuff related to the latest news. It can be a lot. In the last year, rates of anxiety and depression have doubled.
Yeah, the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, finances, crime, there's a lot going on. And even if you're trying to be proactive and talk to someone about it, they can take this to get a traditional therapy.
And those visits can cost you up to $500 a session for a psychiatrist or $100 a session for traditional therapy. Cerebral is for folks who can't afford to spend that for a phone, so you can always find an area at home where you're most comfortable.
Cerebral is one of the few services that provides prescription medication online through a licensed provider and ships medication straight to your door so you can skip the pharmacy lines. Their treatment options are available with or without insurance.
But Cerebral is in-network for several self-identifies people who get the treatment they deserve.
And it works. 80% of patients report reduced anxiety. And 75% of patients report improvement with their depression results in 7 days.
As one of our listeners, you can get 65% off your first month of medication management and care counseling at cerebral.com/AL.
Go to cerebral.com/AL for 65% off your first month. That's just a total of $30 to get started. Join Cerebral today on their mission to make quality mental health care accessible and affordable for all.
That's cerebral.com/AL.
This is Dr. Nathan Bray. Thank you for listening to Astonishing Legends. Let's get back to the show.
Well, so we get a little bit further into this initial interview. Art actually asked Mel if he ever felt drawn or compelled to go, like jumping in or falling in or whatever. And Mel says, no, not at all. And in fact, the reason I put the lid on it is because it's what they call an attractive nuisance. So the folks that have swimming pools will know what an attractive nuisance is.
Where that came up again was part 2 of Terry Lovelace's. He's reading the stories, and it's the carousel story, one of our favorites, I think.
Yes.
And that on there on the farmer's land is the attractive nuisance.
Here's a little bit of information on attractive risk on a landowner's property that may particularly children onto land and pose a risk to their safety. In tort law, the attractive nuisance doctrine imposes a duty on property owners to treat trespassing children the same as an invitee, and as a result, must exercise reasonable care to eliminate potential dangers or provide adequate warning. That points to a precedent case. I don't know if that one does, or there's another site I was looking at earlier. The precedent-setting case was about a child that broke into a house that was under construction and fell backwards into a hole that was created for stairs that weren't installed. Parents sued and won. So anyway, Mel's worried about this. He's worried about kids falling in the hole, at which point Art is like, and if a kid did fall in there, based on everything we know about it, you wouldn't even know about it. They would just have disappeared, right? They would just be gone. Like anything else that falls in the hole that's a living being. If there's no evidence of it on the surface, if the hole is truly bottomless, you would have no idea that it ever went down the hole.
That's why Mel constructed a metal lid for this thing, right? So that you couldn't accidentally trip and fall into it.
Right.
And just to keep stuff out, I'm sure the government's nothing there. So, that's what's going on here. And then, people are calling in. Ken from Scottsdale talks about a Chevy falling from the sky. I heard that story.
Yeah, I think he's referencing a Coast to Coast episode. Because
Yes,
Art is
right,
like,
right.
yeah, that's the blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know that one.
Look, real Charles Ford stuff. Nuts raining from the sky, Brazil nuts. Art says he gets nuts raining on the show all the time. Yeah. What else is happening in the tone of this interview?
So it's getting down to the point here where Mel is continuously adding line and adding line and adding line. And he's added what he thinks are 18 spools of this bulk fishing line now, which is putting him down to an estimated length of up to 80,000 feet, which is a little over 15 miles. And as far as you can see, the line is still taut. The weight is not touching the bottom. 15 miles down, this would be far and away a Guinness World Record for the deepest hole on Earth, if this was true. And so people are starting to try to do some math here. What is going on? All right, so it's 20-pound test. How much does that weigh? Someone calls in and says, well, how much does the line itself weigh? And I love this because when this person called me, I was having that exact question in my head at that exact moment. It was so satisfying. Here's someone calling and goes, well, and you and I talked about this offline before we recorded tonight. If you've ever flown a kite super high, which of course was always my goal, was to fly the kite as high as possible. I did the same thing. I would have a fishing pole. I would put a ton of line on it and use the pole to get the kite way out. This is down at the beach. It's always blowing here in North Carolina. And I had kites that were so high up, you couldn't see the kite. All you could see was the string going up into the sky. And they had just become so tiny. But what you do see is that the string, even monofilament, it has a lot of weight to it. And all that weight is going out. And eventually, what you see is the line is very parabolic. It's going out almost flat and then curving up into the sky, and then you can't see the kite anymore. So the same thing is happening here, folks. If you're running this line down into this well and you have 80,000 feet of fishing line, that has some weight to it. So folks are asking Mel what the weight of that is. And at this point, he's like, I don't really know. I don't know. I've not weighed the spool of line with the line on it and with it off to calculate the difference so that I can tell you how much of the roll of the monofilament weighs. So if I did know that, I can then take that weight and multiply it times 17 or 18 and calculate the weight of the entire contraption, including the 1 pound weight at the end of the very first spool. It's already all the way down at the bottom, or at the end of the line. There is no line. It gets to a point near the end of this very first call. Again, Mel is like, you swear to me on all that is sacred to you that you are telling the absolute unadulterated truth. And Mel says, this is my all, and this is the truth about it. So Art is really fascinated with the whole. They've covered just about everything there is about it. They touch again on this dog that supposedly came back to life. Art loved that fact, I think. Point though, I don't know of anyone who threw the dead cows. There's been no stories of any of the dead cows coming back to life.
Like just email your boy. Really? Because yeah, he's like, I told her, my boy doesn't have this shit. She's like,
Because the story is it gets
it's like 5 years. She's like, no, babe, can't do it. Alpine.
dogs.
So we got coach. Who's coach? You're like,
Like animal, hunter or seed in town.
this is mine. Why would you look? Why it's just emailing your day? It's sponsored. Really? Oh yeah. Really? This is Fort Myers, kid. That's where from where this thing is. I told her, babe, can't do it. Really? Look at that. He's like, I could surf that. I could surf that, but I don't know. Alpine doesn't get that, babe. Really? No, babe. Alpine doesn't get that. What? Babe.
Just think about this, folks.
Babe.
Get in your car.
Are you done?
And
Babe.
60 miles
Alpine
an hour
doesn't get
drive
that.
for 15
Really?
miles. Takes a minute. Takes 15 minutes.
Do you know what storm
So
surge is?
I'm saying that if you're unspooling line at a much slower pace, and that's what Mel says later on. I was like, well, I can get some kind of militarized thing to really spool this up, because even just bringing that line up again, even if it's piling up, it's caught up on a root somewhere. And
You know what
just
a storm
thinks
surge is?
there's no bottom. It's a lot to spool up. What I'm saying.
This is why I just came out of your married girl.
Line is
You weren't
pretty
just
far.
so
So
Yoshi.
it's interesting. And what I like about
But
this
it's
story
true.
is that he's
Why
a
are you
bit of a
getting married?
mindset
Oh,
like
that's
us.
sponsor.
Right. His
Yoshi,
curiosity
just do you want me to
is
go to
really
Fort
getting
Myers?
to experiment with this, reaching out,
How
asking
come
others
she's
about it. there are some other people that I know that are, let's say, more practical. They would just keep this and never want to reply.
That could be happening. All right, so that ends the first appearance of Mel on Coast to Coast, and a couple of days later, literally 2 days later, on February 24th of 1997, which is a Monday, the first call was Friday, Saturday night. He calls back on Monday and has a lot more details, and a lot of things have changed for Mel and Mel's property. So Art is now, he's coming back in. It's 2 days after Mel first came on the show. He's getting a lot of feedback from his audience. They want to know more. They're like, wait, what is going on? He actually used the word dangling. He left us dangling. What's happening? The other thing it apparently did was sparked a lot of interest in Mel's property from some outside forces. He sent a new fax in to Art. Do you have that second fax?
I transcribed Art reading the fax.
Yes.
This is the second fax about this that he's got. Story takes an interesting turn here. Like I said, it just could have gone away. Another all funny story that ends up on
Why don't they do this in the United States?
But it gets a little deeper here. And what I will say again is that I look at all of our stories. There are three options. All it's true, none of it's true. Or it's a combination of them. No sense together. So if you look at it though, as none of it being true, it's like, this is pretty well done. I will give this gentleman a Hugo Award for his volunteer. So as Scott just said, Mel comes back on the show 2 days later. It's now February 24th, 1997. It's the second interview. And Art mentions that he talked to Mel on Friday night and Saturday morning on that last hour of the program. And now there's an update on what may be the deepest hole ever. And as Art says, this is Mel's hole part 2. Earlier in the day, Art and Shell gets this fax. It reads, Art, you're receiving this fax simultaneously with the fax I attempted to send you earlier today. Much has developed since the fax. I'll try to explain as rationally as possible what has transpired since my earlier fax. Around 1 p.m., I drove to Yakima to shop at the Costco there. On my way back, I decided to stop at the property. When I got there, my access froze. All my military personnel that were armed. I noticed that several pieces of yellow deer had entered and exited my property based on the direction of their tread. That's parts that I think he meant tread. Yes, maybe a misspelling. I asked one of the guards, what's going on? He said there was a plane crash on the property. I said, well, that's strange. I told him there's no smoke. I don't see any in the distance. He asked who I was, and I let him know I own the property. I then asked to talk to the officer in charge. A non-uniformed man came up to my Suburban and let me know that I won't have access to my property until the crash has been completely investigated. I mentioned the yellow deer and the lack of smoke and that they were on my property. I was told by this man that it's not necessarily my property and that it would be very easy to find a drug lab on my property. Well, I got through it. I asked if I could leave. He said, sure, don't come back until we contact you. I asked if he wanted a way to contact me. He said, they know how to contact me. I said, I suppose you don't want me to talk to anybody. But one of my neighbors earlier today, and he told me something very interesting. He said that some time ago, he was driving up to the hole at night, and nothing saw the sun. He said he saw a beam of solid black coming out of the then uncovered hole. I said, what do you mean? He said he saw something blacker than black coming out of the hole like a searchlight reaching into the sky as far as he could see. Art comes back and says, oh, there you have it. There actually is more from the state of Washington. Here's Mel.
Yeah, so now Mel is back on the horn. Art presumably calling him and saying, hey, you got your fax. And Art makes a big point of talking about how upset Mel was when he reached him. So this is another thing to think about if you believe in this at all. When you get into the story of all this, and if you presume that Art is being truthful, which I think he is in terms of his interactions, when he called Mel off the air and said, hey, do you want to come back on? And they were talking off the air, and presumably based on these conversations earlier in the day, he's able to which if this is Mel was acting in a one-on-one conversation with Art Mel about how scared and nervous he was, and Art was believe in that shit. Now, to be fair, Art loves these kind of stories and openly admitted to being taken in by the Blair Witch Project at the beginning of one of these episodes. It's funny, I was showing that to my son the other day. My wife and I were like, oh, this will be fun, like last Halloween or something. We turned it on. Yeah. It was streaming. It was like Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. And we're like, isn't this cool? And we're telling it's real. No, it's real. And he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Pause it. You pause it, and then all the actors' names come up at the bottom. It's like, you idiots. Why would you have X-ray or whatever you call that shit on the Blair with TRUMAN? And it's like pictures of them and their headshots, and I was like, you just ruined the entire movie, you stupid streaming platform. And Rob was like, I knew it immediately. My son was like, okay, you were trying to lead us for what the hell is the whole point of the film? It's today, I'm so mad about it. I ruined it. Getting back to this phone call now, it's you call Mel and Art are talking. He's explaining how there's armed soldiers on his land. At first he said it was just like a small barrier or something, and then one of the security barriers is like later for and Art wasn't knowing what that was. I know. They're actually designed, my dad is actually designed so that a car runs up on them and it directs back onto the road. They're concrete. Anytime there's a terrorist barrier or whatever, that down and that was like they were there, still drive with them even if they're unarmed guys. They call them gateways. Also, I've also seen this from interviews, right? Show that they have many and they do that every day outside of New York City because there's a lane they dedicate to the buses going in and out of the city during rush hour. And every day they switch that lane's direction from forward to backward with one of those zipper barrier things. Yes. So coming back around to what's happening now, the military has taken over Mel's property. The military has taken over Mel's home. So that's obviously producing problems. He can't get onto his own land. And then on top of that, they wind up threatening him. They're saying, hey, you know what? If you don't, it's like, well, actually, and then you're like, oh, this whole story just took a turn. But here's the thing. It's not a drug lab. It's not controlled substances or narcotics. It's homeopathic remedies that he is apparently interested in, that he's been taking from Native American, or in contacts that he has, he is apparently interested in, that he's been taking from Native American, or in contacts that he has who are advising him about the stuff that he's trying to grow, and he's doing something with that. That's his main business, apparently. Yeah, and I will put a finer point on this because I know that homeopathy is a trigger over to a lot of people. Like, in that case, wacko, that's like pseudo medicine doesn't work. He never says homeopathy. What Mel says is that he's in the alternative field. And that he has a sort of lab because, again, it's nothing illegal. He always states that nothing you can arrest people for. None of this is illegal substances. I'm not growing anything. This is just herbs that are natural, that are old, ancient, perhaps Native American herbs that he's really interested in. And so he has some alcohol and he has some solvents to break it down. And that's what he's working with. So it's not really lab. And yeah, there's a few chemicals, but it's really nothing that you find in a meth lab, right? But that's fair because, as we know, say authorities, they don't have to actually find anything. All they have to do is plant an idea. If you're trying to put public opinion on something, it's like you click on your computer. That's all they have to say. And you can just take your imagination further and figure out what I'm saying. Is that how do you know? They just have to say they found it. So it's very easy for them, but it's also very easy for them to stick that on your computer without your knowledge. Right. So again, I'm not getting into conspiracy theory. I'm just saying that Mel is a little concerned. Like, yeah, I know that word is real. Yeah, he says I do have a lab, I do have solvents, and he goes so far as to say this is a very particular plant that the Native Americans have known about for a long time, and it actually flourishes in northern Nevada. I often hear is what he's saying, and he's working with the Native American community on developing uses for it, and he says specifically something to the effect that the Indians used it at the time, his words not mine, to treat various illnesses with it, mostly cold and flu. Yeah, so just quickly, I want to get more into this in part 2. We get into more into it as it were. I did find a paper, an academic paper from the University of Nevada called "The Washoe Murder and Mass Murder in the States." About 50 million deaths may have been avoided. Right? We wrote this in the summer of 2012 for the Department of Pathology, and it talks about how this may have averted a lot of the deaths from spatula in this particular plant called Lomatium, or Lomatium, and this is apparently a plausible treatment for flu-like conditions. And I think the name for it is biscuit root. And it grows specifically in northern Nevada, and he doesn't ever say, Bill never says this is what I'm growing, but that's what I think it is personally. But he's making it clear this isn't a narcotic, and it's not. You can read that paper. I'll have a link to that paper. That was freely available on Jason. And so, but he has a lab, and in this lab, he's processing this. So he's being blackmailed, and the other thing that's happening is now he's also starting to get interest in having the property purchased. And at which point Art is like, wait, is this your property? And he jokingly says, well, mine with the banks. This time, there is another time when he says, yes. Later on, he goes, no, it's mine, it's my banks. And then they're talking about separate, so I do have some questions about that. But Art is like, well, it looks like they're getting you coming and going here because they're either going to blackmail you, put you in jail for having a drug lab on your property, or they're going to offer to buy it from you. And so he's talking a little bit about this, but he also seems like he wants to answer some of the questions that came up in his first appearance. Right. So he's gone and done a little bit of the math on fishing, for example. And he got like a fish scale spring, the hook that hangs down, and a little bit unscientifically, but scientifically, he came to the conclusion, based on doing some weight experiments, that the 18 spools that he had, 1 pound weight, that he had probably 17 or 18 pounds of weight on the line. It was a 20-pound test. So in theory, it was near its breaking point when it got to 80,000 feet. And this is another interesting thing to think about the construction of a hoax or the construction of a true story. He has taken a specific question about how this could possibly work. He's coming back and answering it 2 days later. It's also saying that after he went on the radio, things have escalated. Land has been taken from him. The military is there. They're threatening to put me in jail or disappear me, and or also someone's trying to buy it. So there's a lot of things that have happened in this just 2 days. He's recounting the story just from we do. Everybody listens to every episode, so he seems like they're repeating ourselves and different people. Every episode will be right. And we get 2 a.m. sometimes I just stop. So he's just repeating. They're going with it. He don't know what to say. But here's what was not mentioned in the first interview. I found this to be quite interesting tidbit here. Is that Mel retells the black bee story. The blackness shooting straight out of the hole. And it's actually Mel saying, yeah, I didn't see these things. These are what neighbors have told me. People that I know. And Mel, of course, talks to those neighbors. They're not very close to the area. You can't see them. I don't know how far away this property is, but as Scott described it, there is lamplight. There is a collection of outbuildings and trailers, and after he goes up to begin this plant birds and other neighbors and farm and so they're not real close. And just quickly, I said they had no power. He did have solar. They had sensors prior to the snowstorm that destroyed a bunch of buildings, which they had solar. Yeah, they had solar. It's a bad mitigation. Again, it's undeveloped property, so what is his actually his whole life things. One thing he said was a neighborhood. They go down to the cafe, like a whole do like they do it in Field, Illinois, and they discuss stuff. And so talk about all this terminology. People up there grabbing there. And here's something interesting though, is that he did talk to his very elderly neighbors. He describes him. His neighbor told him that way back when, and he formed him 50 years ago, the whole didn't look exactly like it does now. The neighbors, he was an elderly neighbor, so yeah, he's probably 80 years, and around the hall is a series of stone columns. And Mel had his memorable with him, and he put a picture of Stonehenge. The old neighbor said, that's exactly what that thing looked like.
standing stones, looking just like that, except though without the top stones. Like a knoll. We talked about this before. Two standing stones with a top of it. That would be, I believe, a dolmen and the standing stones without the top stone. That's more of a megalith or a menhir. MENHIR. So at ancient heritage sites, you'll see book types. Often they are a burial site, like a dolmen will have a burial or a sacred spot underneath it. And other stones, they believe, Stonehenge could be celestial sighting or ceremonial arrangements or actual burial sites themselves. That's totally fascinating to me. What he's describing is like, yeah, there used to be stone there. Maybe they fell in, and now they're in another dimension. He won't just look at that same dimension. I'm just saying that, yeah, he said that's exactly what it looked like. Standing stones lighting the perimeter of the hole.
Yeah, and this was the first point in the story. I was like, okay.
What? That's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was bought on
I said, look,
80,000 feet. They're going to hunt 15 miles deep. We threw a dead cow in there. The dog came back. Black beam of black dark light came out of it. And I was okay with all of that. And then I was like, it looks like Stonehenge. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Now hold on a second. But it doesn't anymore. But it used to. It used to look like Stonehenge.
No, there may have been stones around it. Again, we don't know. It's like this. I don't think so.
Stones are big.
No. What I'm saying is that things change over time. Right? Things come and go. Robin and Timonah, remember, they calculated that the pillars there in one plaza were not any built-in fence. The pillars were freestanding again at space. Sometime during the turn of the 1890s, when it was first explored and noted, and perhaps the 1960s, somebody closed it. And it's stunned. Why did they do that? Again, we talked about this. It's like, okay, maybe they're just thinking that it's make a better tourist attraction. It looks more attractive. It's more finished. It's ours to mess with anyway. So, on out, we're going to do this.
Yeah, but that's thousands of years in this case now. And I read, of course, I can't remember this now. It's just the hell happened in the past 150 years, probably. It's an infinitesimal amount of chronological. People, whatever, word would get out. Not necessarily. It was before the guys. People do all kinds of weird stuff with farming. So in the late 1850s, 1860s, that's when farmers started doing that, but digging into the mounds that were on their property. And the dirt is what it's an ancient burial site on the mountain. They didn't care. They came out a bunch of got on the ground. Marbles were there. They didn't care. They were on the side. What I'm saying is that people do weird things in the front. If you've ever lived in a rural area, and you're right, okay, so then, like, I'm not going to name names, but I know neighbors to do it. Why did you put that there? Or why did you remove that? That would make you realize the lie is, if it's near the home, I can see people like, hey, let's show that in the home. Even that standing straight, right? Okay. Regardless of how I was thinking when I heard this thing, it had some Native American value to it that perhaps it was used as a single site as anything that's laying is viewed with more relevance. Yeah. Like whether it's Highland Mountain, which you took me by in our last road trip, it's like, yeah, that's pretty interesting looking. Or Dylan's Tower, I can see like people would reverse of that when you have a really deep hole. I can see why people part of that is being significant. So again, this part of now again, we're calling in advancing it with different ideas and these directions. Parts in magnitude actually occurring higher range just happen to reach Earth's surface about an #1. There is tremendous naturally generated high voltage electricity deep in the Earth. When at the bottom of the hole, under Earth's property is a naturally occurring focal point, a lot like the device that Mr. Mark I didn't want to go down that hole. So I told the folks, like, you did see Mr. Mark. It's probably another coast-to-coast story. The facts goes on to say the Earth can have its own, in effect, time machine. Centuries through
various wigs and so forth, all the soil up on the portal will have fallen into the bottom and been launched into some other tunnel. This explains the lack of echoes and the apparent depth of the hole. Tell Bill to lower clock down there. And here's another side thing, which is kind of funny to get part of the humor of this story is that here's all this crap and trash being thrown in there for 150 years, and it's popping out in some other, it's coming out somewhere. It's like it keeps glittering here. It's like a black hole. Now there's theoretically white holes where celestial objects might have occurred. We don't know. Where is this stuff going? If you think it's going to some deep underground military base, like dumb, then somebody is clogging up the hatch there, like in Lost. There's a hatch that's sealed and it's mysterious and it actually goes somewhere. And now somebody's very upset because in some other dimension they're getting a bunch of dead cows and garbage. Right.
You know, earlier we were talking about mental health, and one of the things that I know for a fact helps me feel better when I'm anxious is exercise. But the truth is, y'all know it can be hard to work out sometimes. You're sitting on the couch, binging Ozark, and inertia is sitting in your lap like a lead balloon. But there are things you can do to make that barrier to getting going a lot easier, and one of them is to find a great way to work out at home. I've had a built-in bike for a few years now, and it has to be one of my favorite ways to do that. Anytime I get on it, one of their highly trained fitness pros is right there ready to help motivate me to work out. Yeah, whether you're a regular in the gym or someone who's even one of my favorite instructors. I have a few I like, but my favorite is probably Alex Tucson. They're also positive and encouraging. His instruction style really connects with me and keeps me moving. And he puts together cute playlists for me to work out too. Well, Peloton has thousands of podcasts and main classes, so you can always keep it fresh. Not just the cycle, but strength training, and running too. It'll allow you to experiment with new types of movement, and it'll level and pace it. But if it's fun, you do it, you know. You're way more likely to stick to a workout routine than you actually enjoy. So Peloton makes every class fun. It feels like you're hanging out with your friends. In fact, I get a kick out of popping into a classic machine that other users I've read with before or online and in there. I would love to see you with Peloton can seamlessly online whether you're looking for a candidate number by the scratch. Folks, right now is the perfect time to try out Peloton. Peloton Bike Plus is now $500 less its best price yet, including free delivery and setup. And there are even more game-changing prices available on the original Peloton bikes and Peloton trip. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's one spelled out, Peloton.com. That's one, Peloton.com.
Whatever are you doing with your technology and good green?
No, it's like they're gonna be. You know what?
Oh yeah, I did get one, but I think I haven't had a chance. So you're taking yours, huh?
Man, I am obsessed with frame. It's been a game changer for stress relief and tension relief. I don't care realize how tight my muscles were getting just from beating up in my head about something like at my desk. And right now, I'm actually just doing a routine called Blue and Green, Julianne Hunt. And there's actually a little video with it where she talks you through it too. This routine only takes 5 minutes, and it just feels so good. When I was done, I could feel like that internal heat radiating in my muscles, especially in my back and neck. It's just great.
No, that sounds amazing, man. I gotta submit it.
Yeah, dude, it's only going to take you like 30 seconds to pair it up to your iPhone or whatever smartphone you might have out there, folks. And for folks who don't know what this is, the TheraGun is the handheld concussion therapy device that releases your muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power. And it's as quiet as electric. The Gen 4 TheraGun doesn't just feel good, it gives you a source of the pain directly. Whether you want to treat your muscle tension from working out, an injury, or just the stresses of everyday life, there's no substitute for TheraGun Gen 4. The OLED screen and design makes you feel like you're holding something in the future. And just go to their site and check it out. And the TheraGun app I was just talking about learns from your behaviors and suggests guided routines. I'm already using mine a few times daily.
TheraGun is trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid and Lee Bandlitz, Paul George, and Yamaha. Pretty sure representatives of customers and now Sky and Insight Music.
I love this thing. And try TheraGun for 30 days, starting at only $199. Right now, go to ViralRabbi.com patreon.com/legends, all lowercase, and get your Gen 4 haircut today. That's ViralRabbi.com/legends, all lowercase. Yes, all lowercase. ViralRabbi.com/legends.
Hello, everyone. I'm back from the podcast Ghost Stories of Canada. I love astonishing legends so much. Forest, right now.
He waves that reactor from the in an anomalous way. Cross between the mantle and the crust, and that's why they call it this one. It does not act as scientists refer to it.
Again, Mel and Art going back and forth respectively. One takes this guy, plane crash. Mel's like, where's the smoke? I see smoke. I don't hear anything. It's only a mile and a half away. It indicates it's kind of down in the ditch. Can't lay eyes on the same. And all of a sudden, neighbors have seen a parade of military vehicles going onto the land, buildings being built. Christmas, lab, and David put in. But no, I don't have a criminal record. And then the guy's like, this is why we need a militia. And it's doing this whole thing about property rights, which again, granted, it's not my case. Property rights, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm from that region. And land rights very seriously. People in rural areas. That's what their life is. Yeah, exactly. You know, if you're an urban person, your plot of land is very small. Yeah, nothing you're talking about. Opposite direction of the Stonehenge mountains. Neighbor, a gentleman called in named Scott from Washington. Yes, and been at the school for a long time, which I thought was really good. Okay, now you've got some more coming into the school. So now you can get back to, okay, well, it's all, is this a hoax? It's a chicken and the eggs. And Mel clearly knows the area. He's really lives there. There's a lot of real things, really has property and all that. And maybe he too has heard that story, and he just knows like maybe again, keep in mind that as you said, made it hard in the calling him the facts. He didn't call us, I gotta tell you about this phone. I did not know I ain't got a spy grab. It's just like there's this fact, after Marcus Arville, he's real good, so is his entire audience. And you're looking here for fun. There's a lot of money in it. But I'm back and take my turn to opinion. Look, you don't have to call back. Like the guy up flying in the American 51. And the light goes in. Like this great hoax, perhaps. One of the biggest talk show overnight in the country. That's right. So you got your Frank Jones from that. But if you look at this case, you smash them, and guess what? Well, that's right into the show, and they don't have to respond to these. I don't know what that might be. And they'll reference to that. As we said, all the time. But what I'm saying is that you're taking it, you know, you've got this prank in or some fun of things he does, and he has a multiple serial motive, you're going to have to follow up. As far as Chris spoke out of this, one, for listening to he is really, I believe, from Central Washington, is anything else. Is that I'm trying to get a picture of like Snell really liked it. He's from the area. How would you find the military camps? Well, there's even on the these guys, older guys showed up. People I know who were ex-military will usually incorporate when we talked to this really fun guy in the Pirates of the Sea. You know, he was a former military. He was like, yeah, I got on the Bino and caved in some of our buildings. I saw a lot of yellow deer. Yeah, and he says yellow deer. Yes, he does. I was wondering about that. I don't know what the green I mean, I presume you make caterpillars, but I don't.
Yes, well, that was my assumption at first. But I thought, like, you know what? I don't hear that from my recorded area a lot. And I just thought, like, is it true? And I looked it up, and apparently it is a naming term. Somebody asked that about NCIS. I heard you say, like, if that yellow deer organized on the deck, more than 50 different types of MHE, commonly referred to as yellow deer, utilized throughout the Navy, ranging from different types of pallet jacks. Somebody talks about something that doesn't fit the usual stories, that's a red flag to us. It's like, okay, what are you getting at here? And you find out, like, I want to come on the show, I want to plug my book or my screenplay, or I'm doing this, or it's another podcast. It's expertly laid out in that it's bits leading up to more of a crescendo, and then it's knitted together with some head scratchers that are real, like Gene Pollard. Scott from Kirkland says also that guess what's nearby? The Yakima Firing Center. Huge military training. Why? If they found out about something that threatened their training, they're going to want to investigate concrete. And so, what he's you don't want to cross us. Also, we might make this worth your while. What do you think? Yes. He makes one statement. If a deal is off, oh, I understand Dale is. I don't. It's Bud Mel that is geologically slanted. So, in any case, if you believe Mel in a story at hand, that means that everything plays. You don't even have a discard like you're playing a rummy game. Just put it all down on the table. You've got the perfect hand. It's pat. Right. That's because your relatives do play bridge. Contract rummy. It was a game to play. It was so much fun. And so, it's a rummy game. You have to get 2 streets of 4 and a set of 3 or whatever. You couldn't go down on the table until you were ready to go down on the table without a discard. So you had to keep drawing until you got your perfect hand. That's a pat hand. So the first thing that felt pat to me about this was when he said, gee, I'd really like to go to Australia. That would be something. And it didn't feel that way in the moment, but it felt that way in the next moment that we're about to start talking about now. It leads up to Mel's 3rd appearance on Coast to Coast, and a significant amount of time passes here between that last one. So again, to look at this timeline, the first one was February 22nd, 19